This case considered the issue of equitable obligations and whether or not a condition in a man's will that his brother ensure that the man's son not want for anything was a sufficient provision from his estate, or if the son was entitled to a family provision. In this case, a man made a will which left his estate to his brother and stated that his son should not want for anything. The man's son brought an action seeking a provision from his father's estate under the family provisions of the Succession Act. However, the man's brother argued that the moral obligations to provide for the man's son was a sufficient provision from the man's estate. One of the central issues was whether or not this requirement in the man's will gave rise to an enforceable, equitable obligation to ensure that the man's son never wanted for anything, and if this was sufficient to amount to a provision from the man's estate for the purposes of the family provisions of the Succession Act. The court ultimately held that